All right, so we're back with Dr. Ben Goins, the IMED Do system with toxic heavy metal detoxification. Dr. Ben, welcome back. How you doing today?
Hey, thank you. Doing great.
Doing great. So today, I thought one of the things we might do is just break down and get into fluoride. It seems that fluoride is really one of the toxic elements within our environment that we're getting a lot of exposure to, and maybe just break down what is fluoride, what the effects of fluoride are, and kind of break down where we find it and start with that. So, with that being said, do you want to break down, the scientific breakdown of what fluoride actually is?
Sure. Just so you know, I have a newsletter about fluoride. Actually, I have multiple newsletters about fluoride, but I have one specifically. One is about halogens, and one is about fluoride and removal. I've got more than one newsletters about fluoride. So I've studied this topic for a very long time, and I didn't know this was our topic today, but this is one of my favorite topics. So I'll give you all the information about fluoride off the top of my head. First thing to know is
Awesome.
fluoride is an element. Okay, and so I'm a chemist, so I look at it on the periodic table. You can find it. It's in the halogen group, and of all the halogens, all of them are toxic, and I think fluoride is the most toxic. So basically, fluorine, fluoride, bromine, bromide, and chlorine are all toxic. Our body can handle chloride is okay, iodine, and iodide. And so fluoride is an element. It's very similar to iodine, and I really believe the simplest way to understand why it's toxic is because it interferes with iodine.
Right.
Okay. But more specifically, there's like a whole bunch of reasons why it's toxic. Another big reason why it's toxic is because fluoride has an ability to bind with calcium. And it will bind to calcium and insolubly where it gets stuck with calcium. Are you with me?
Yep. So when that
And
happens, what are the effects? Does that
And well, in biochemistry, there's about 16,000 different pathways in the body that use calcium signaling. Okay, so it just throws a monkey wrench into the whole system. The big ones that are really well known are it'll get bind insolubly with calcium and it'll calcify your third eye. So the blood-brain barrier, it'll screw that up. But it really screws up your bones, and your bones are kind of repositories of calcium and magnesium and things, and it just screws up all that. So the calcium signaling it messes up. The other thing it does is that this is kind of from the chemistry side. It's anti-organic chemistry. Heard of organic chemistry as anti-organic chemistry because in organic chemistry we have a lot of carbons, hydrogens, and oxygens. Well, in hydrocarbons, instead it will create fluorocarbons. So instead of hydrogen binding to carbons, it'll bind fluoride to carbons. So it really screws up our carbon system, and we're carbon organisms. And then it screws up calcium, it signals up our pathway, and then it screws up all the iodine because it interferes with iodine. So it'll screw up your energy. So it'll cause. The big thing is when you're detoxing it out, it'll cause headaches. It'll cause like hot flashes. You'll feel like hot inflammation when it's coming out. In the old days, if you're not using IMED system, you use gold now to protect your brain so that doesn't happen. But yeah, in the old days, you detox fluoride. That's just some of the stuff it was caused. Also, it decrease intelligence. What else would it do? Yeah, it's neurotoxic. Um, I mean, I studied things kind of from the neuroscience side, so that was enough for me. Like it's neurotoxic. I didn't need to go into the details how it was toxic to all the rest of the body, but it is.
yeah. So fluoride, like with the bones, does that like brittle the bones or when it's affecting the calcium, what are some of the side effects on the body?
So the scam was that the dentist would say that they would give you fluoride to make your bones harder. Okay. And that's kind of a half truth it's kind of true because the fluoride will bind to the calcium and get stuck there. So it would make the bones harder, but that's not a good thing because the calcium in your body is meant to be mobile. It really makes the calcium get stuck and interferes with the signaling. So yeah, we're not supposed to have a fluoride in our bones, in my opinion. We're supposed to have iodine in our bones. Yeah, and that's not something many people know about. But when you have
Yeah,
iodine,
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, that's very, almost nobody knows about that. But you have to understand, if fluoride and iodine are very similar, if fluoride will bind with the calcium in your bones, then surely iodine will as well, but in a healthy way. So that's not something many people talk about, but it's like your teeth have like bioreactive armor when you have enough iodine. So do not take fluoride to make your bones or teeth harder. That's just ridiculous. All it's going to do is going to throw a monkey wrench in the calcium signaling of your body. It'll also screw up your magnesium, zinc. It'll screw up all your 2+ signaling molecules in your body.
So does that also get into, you were talking about how it calcifies the pineal. Does that also sort of calcify the area in the blood-brain barrier in general as well? Or, the pineal
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
is,
It'd make little like microcrystals of calcium fluoride all throughout your body. They'll screw up all your tissues. That's just the one that people normally focus on. That's right.
mhm. And
Yeah, it's
so,
not it's not just there. It screws up your kidneys. It'll oh, I have a cool article about kidney stones, how they're probably nucleated by fluoride. Fluoride, the calcium fluoride could get stuck in your arteries, cause atherosclerosis. In my opinion, I have an article about detoxing fluoride for heart health. I mean, yeah, it really will screw up your entire body. It's just a lot of work to focus on every different system at once. I focused on the brain, I focused on the pineal, I focused on the blood, but it really will. Any tissue in your body will get screwed up with the calcium fluoride in there.
I've had kidney stones at least 4 times, and I've had to actually have surgery the last time. There was technology now, like with the iMed Do, and there's some other things that probably would help me from that. But as somebody that's gone through that, and I know, there's a lot of people now that are getting a lot more hip to their water supply, what's in their water, water filtration. And I know we've talked about the water that you drink at restaurants and when you're out. And as the water starts to get warm, you can smell it and probably even smell the fluoride in the water. But when it gets to filtration and that, how much of that really actually is effective for removing fluoride?
So for fluoride F-, you need an ion exchange filter to get it out, which are usually the more expensive water filters. Usually the water filters you're paying like $2,000 or more for will usually get it out, but it's pretty hard to get out. But you can, like, yeah, what you were saying is you can actually take water, let it go to room temperature, and smell it, and you can tell if there's fluoride in there or not. If it smells like a swimming pool, it's chlorine. But the fluorine, once you get used to the smell, it's kind of like, it's very similar to chlorine, but worse. It's kind of like, "Oh, this is like a swimming pool, but kind of worse." It's kind of hard to explain. But once you smell it, you recognize it, and you can actually tell if there's fluoride gassing off of the water just from smell if the water's room temperature. So that's another question you asked I didn't answer, is like, where are we getting the fluoride from? Yeah, water is the main source if you're in a municipal area that is putting fluoride in the water. And I think I just read an article. There's like 40% of America is still having their water fluoridated, which is just criminal. People are starting to really fight back against it. Uh, so hopefully that will go down. But that's probably the number one source. But also there's hydrofluorocarbons from pollution that are going into the environment. That can be in the air, water, ground, all over the place. And then another big source is a lot of the processed food is being found to have fluoride in it. Those are the main
Of
sources.
course, a lot of the main brands that sell toothpaste are also putting fluoride in the toothpaste. I mean, nowadays,
Yes,
they,
absolutely avoid fluoridated toothpaste. That's a lie saying that they're putting the fluoride in there to make your teeth harder. But sure, you're making your teeth harder, but you're also disrupting your brain. It
yeah,
works. So don't do that.
yeah. It's interesting because I've heard from past history that they were putting fluoride in the water back in the prison camps in World War II, and they were doing it in a way that was also apparently keeping people a little more docile. I mean, from a mood perspective, it was affecting their moods in addition to some of the other things that you've already mentioned.
Yeah, that's correct. So the fluoride, you lose the ability to dream. So if you're not dreaming, usually when you detox the fluoride, you'll start dreaming again. You lose creativity, you lose intelligence, you become more docile. You became, like, they just call it being a fluoride zombie. You're more easy to manipulate, control. You lose your connection and intuition. basically all the spiritual stuff with your third eye you lose. So you're basically just become a we call it fluoride zombie.
Yeah. Another thing that I've heard is that when they do actually put fluoride into a substance, whether it be water or anything else, it's so toxic that they literally have to be out in like hazmat type suits to do that because getting access or being around that fluoride is a super toxic chemical to be around.
Yeah, it really is. But I mean, the simplest way to note to understand it is that fluorine interferes with iodine. Everything that your whole body is designed to interact with to use iodine for energy, and fluoride is a fake iodine, and so it just blocks every single pathway in your body almost that's related to energy and calcium. And I mean, there's like I say, there's 16,000 known calcium pathways, all that could be disrupted with fluorine. There's untold number of iodine pathways because it's used by every cell in the body for the mitochondria for energy and your thyroid hormones and everything. So it's going to disrupt your hormones, your energy, everything. But it's really noticeable with the brain. So it really screws up your brain. You notice that first. Your body tries to protect your brain first. So that's why I think people probably kind of focus on the blood-brain barrier with the pineal, because if you have any fluoride in your body's trying to get it out of the brain and preserve the purity of your cerebrospinal fluid before it preserves the purity of your blood and the rest of your body.
Right. And, in this day and age, Dr. Ben, we've got a lot of issues with what I guess would generally classify as cognitive type issues
Mhm.
with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, a lot of stuff where there's memory issues. And, there might not be any exact science on it, but it would seem that if you're getting chemicals in the body that are causing brain calcification, that could certainly be a possibility of other side effects that you're getting from the fluoride.
Absolutely. It's fluoride, and then fluoride is even more toxic in the brain with aluminum, and also mercury and lead and other things can also contribute to that stuff. But yeah, definitely fluoride is not going to help you with anything cognitive. You have to replace the fluoride, flush fluoride out, and replace it with iodine, and then your intelligence will actually go up.
Got it. Dr. Ben, give me just a sec. Hold on, just a sec.
Mhm.
So we've got a little Doberman puppy here at the office, and he got locked out of my office, and he basically started scratching at the door. So nobody was close by, so I had to just let him in so that he didn't sit outside and start barking. Um, but with the iodine itself, so we've kind of identified what it is, some of the effects of the iodine. In addition to water and food, is there anywhere else that you would see that you get exposure to it?
Those are the main ways. Water, food, fluorocarbons, and the environmental stuff is a big one. So it's in the environment a lot. But yeah, probably you can go out of your way to avoid the fluoride water. That's the number one thing. And then other than that, you really need to avoid processed foods. And then other than that, you can't just avoid fluoride. You have to actively take iodine to flush it out, because your body is actually trying to use iodine. And when it doesn't have enough iodine, it will use fluoride mistakenly for carbon chemistry, and then it'll start making incorrect molecules all in your body with fluorocarbons instead of hydrocarbons. So you've got to get that fluoride out. And to get iodine, so you have to get either take iodine as a health supplement is the main way. Otherwise, you can get iodine in sea vegetables or in high dairy items like whole milk or milk fat, things like that. Like when pregnant women crave ice cream, they're craving iodine, for example.
Okay. So the beauty of it is that with all the knowledge and everything that we know about the fluoride, you have the iMed Do system, which is designed to detoxify and get that out of your system. So do you want to break down first the grade of iodine and kind of how that gets started, and then how the colloidal silver and the colloidal gold assist in the process of getting it out, reducing inflammation?
Yeah, so there's only two ways to detox fluoride that I'm aware of. And it used to be only one. I thought iodine was the only way to do it. Turns out actually gold to a more limited extent will also detox fluoride. Every atom of monoatomic gold will bind to a 3 molecules of fluoride. And so my colloidal gold releases monoatomic gold from the surface, and those gold atoms can also detox fluoride. So gold detoxes fluoride to a more limited extent. Iodine is a strong detox for fluoride. But then when the fluoride's coming out, you have to protect your body from the inflammation it causes on the way out. And that's where the silver comes in. So in the IMEDU system, which is the nascent iodine, the colloidal silver, and the colloidal gold, the nascent iodine and the colloidal gold are actually detoxing the fluoride, but the gold is actually protecting your brain because it's anti-inflammatory, your brain and nerves, and the silver is protecting your body from the fluoride as it comes out. So the IMEDU system allows you to detox fluoride safely. And I guess the biggest side effect is people get if you take some iodine and you have fluoride in your system, the first thing that would happen is you would immediately get a headache because it would push the fluoride out. It'd be circulating through the blood, be causing brain damage, even headache. And so headache, nausea were some of the things. But so the gold really prevents that. And if you do have a lot of fluoride, you can take three extra drops of gold under your tongue for that brain protection. But it's usually only even possible that even happens the very first time someone even gets some of the iodine, if they just haven't had any in a long time. Then they're at risk of having maybe a headache if they don't also take the gold with it. And then it's really amazing how fast it works. In about 20 minutes, you'll get thirsty and then you'll pee, and you might notice little like crystals in your pee. And that's the fluoride coming out. And it comes out very fast the very first time you use the iodine. And then after that, it's never noticeable. But I've only ever seen that for people who are really toxic just the very first time they ever use the system. And so that's why I always remind those people, okay, take the silver, take the gold, now take the iodine. That way you protect your body, flush it out.
Yeah, that's really great. I mean, in this day and age, there's just so many things that are in the environment that we're getting exposure to. But, I wanted to do the call today just on fluoride because I really wanted to focus on that because I think through, food, water, and other things, that's probably one of the main ones that a number of people are getting exposure to. And I know, in the previous calls that we've done, it's lead, it's mercury, and it's fluoride. But the fluoride to me seems like it's almost worthy of its own little podcast.
Well, a big one, the heavy metal to know about with fluoride is actually aluminum. Aluminum nanoparticles, if they get in the brain, actually amplify the toxicity of fluoride drastically in the brain. It's already super toxic, makes it really, really super toxic with the aluminum. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Aluminum's okay outside your body, but inside your body, inside your brain, that's not where it's supposed to be. And your gut keeps the aluminum out. It's supposed to 99.9% of the aluminum out, unless people have leaky gut, then it can get the aluminum in. So aluminum plus fluoride is even worse.
And the
So
IMED system, yeah, gets out all these metals.
yeah, it does. It gets the halogens and heavy metals out. And so the related halogen to fluoride is bromine. They put a lot of bromine around too. Like there's some bromine in the bread, chlorine in the bread with the bleach flour and the brominated flour. In the red food dyes, there's bromine. So bromine is very similar to fluoride and fluorine in the sense that it also interferes with iodine, and it's also a halogen that will also detox. And that's another one. We mostly talk about fluoride, but there's a related halogen that's almost as toxic, bromine, that a lot of people have a lot of in their system as well. There's another iodine guy who's really popular, Dr. David Brownstein, who has a lot of information on the how much bromine people have in their bodies. It's pretty bad.
It really is.
Contributes
And it's
contributes to
go ahead.
cancer as well. I forgot cancer, but yeah, definitely if you have fluoride and bromine in your body, you have increased rates of cancer as well. If I didn't mention that, that should be obvious.
Hmm. Yeah, nothing really good coming from that. So with the fluoride, you have the IMED system. Initially, if you have a lot of it in your body, you're going to see some symptoms. But the interesting thing is for me is that being that I'm in the medical industry and I sell a lot of high-end medical equipment to home care, long-term care, insurance companies, I'm seeing increased cases of ALS and increased cases of cognitive issues where people need a lot of stuff. Their risk management, dementia, all these different things. And and then there's also technology. There's a lot of great technology which gets into, right frequencies and Tesla plasma and all these different things. But ultimately, the detox system with IMED Do and getting that out of your body is got to be the most important first step with addressing this, keeping it out, and basically detoxifying the body and getting that blood brain barrier cleared out and getting this toxic material out of the body. That system that you've got is definitely the first line of addressing the whole thing and helping people kind of, number one, stay ahead of it and not deal with any of these issues. Not that they necessarily, would come from that, but also, starting to get in and clean out years and years and years of this stuff calcifying and getting into the body.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, with that being said, Dr. Ben, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this call because I wanted today to just be really about fluoride and the IMED Do system. You're going to see the web address above or below here on the video. It's very reasonably priced. It's a 6 month supply. The 6 month supply gets you the iodine, the colloidal silver, and the colloidal gold. And if anybody's out there, they call us or contact us. We're going to have a 10% discount available for everybody. Dr. Ben, we did run out after the last video that we did, and I will be in contact with you here once we sign off because we have to get another order in to get restocked. But for anybody out there that's has a health and wellness center that's running EE systems or anything out there where you're bringing in people, this is an essential component that you want at your wellness center that you want to integrate with the people that you're working with. And for anybody watching it at home, this is something you should be doing every single day, along with all the other things that you do in your daily routine with staying healthy, good diet, exercise, the whole thing. So, Dr. Ben, with that being said, is there anything else you want to finish before we sign off?
Yeah. The main thing to understand is, I mean, the reason fluoride is so toxic is because it interferes with iodine. So to really understand why fluorine is so toxic, you have to understand iodine, and it interacts with calcium, which is a very complex thing to figure out because there's 16,000 pathways. So it really is a monkey wrench for the whole body. And the only two ways that I'm aware of to get the fluoride out of your body are iodine and gold. So that's why the iMedu system is so powerful for fluoride removal. And if you do this system, all the other healthy things and other detox things that you might be doing, you'll notice will start working better, because usually they're just blocked with that fluoride. And once you unblock it, then you'll see your other things start to work better as well.
Right. And, fluoride is just one of many toxic metals that are coming out. The IMED Do system is also removing the lead. It's removing the mercury. It's removing a lot of other stuff, the aluminum. But we'll get into the other metals and kind of break them down one by one as we go. And this is our third, fourth, or maybe fourth or fifth call. We've got a library with Dr. Ben here on our YouTube channel. So if you want more information, you can go on there. Dr. Ben, what is the best web address to get your information? Because you've got a lot of scientific data on all this on your website. Is that the imeddo.club, or where's the best place for people to go?
Yeah, my old website is imedu.com, but I mostly use the imedu.club now.
What is it?
imedu.club, IMEDDO
Oh, yeah.
.club. My
Yeah. So
imedu.com website works as well, but it's got my I kind of put it on the blockchain. It's kind of messed up right now. Just go to
yeah,
imedu.club.
it's good. Well, Dr. Ben, as always, thank you so much for your time today. It's great to hear from you. Thanks for all the information, all the knowledge, and thanks for producing the IMED Do system for people like us that can detoxify and get a lot of these environmental things, all these toxins out of the body to live a healthier, happier life. So once again, thank you, sir, and I'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
All right, bye, Sean. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much.